All right, let's be real for a second. If you told me a year ago that I'd be sitting here talking about a cleaning lady who cracked the world's hardest math problem, I'd have laughed you right out the door. But here I am, telling you about Denise Williams, a woman nobody noticed, who turned the whole world of mathematics upside down with a piece of chalk, a little bit of nerve, and a whole lot of genius. The crazy part? The most brilliant mind at Preston University was pushing a mop while the experts banged their heads against the blackboard. Yeah, that happened. Let me back up a sec. It was just before midnight, and Denise was working her usual shift blue uniform, squeaky wheels on her cleaning cart echoing down the empty hallway of the mathematics department. Inside classroom 401, you had 5 professors absolutely fried from 14 hours of staring at the Caldwell equation of monsters so nasty. Universities worldwide were racing to crack it for the glory and a $10 million grant. No sleep, cold pizza, caffeine, sweats the works. Dr. Bennett, the youngest hotshot in the room, looked like he was one coffee away from meltdown. Tomorrow's the deadline, he groaned, voice heavy as a headstone. If we don't show progress, the whole department's out. Meanwhile, Denise, 28, smart as hell, invisible to everyone who mattered, just kept her head down, picking up empty Red Bull cans and half-scribbled notes, listening through thin walls. Most folks saw her as part of the furniture, but her mind was built for seeing patterns where others just saw noise. Growing up in the roughest part of town, math was her escape, the only thing in her world that made sense. She taught herself calculus from library books, while her classmates were still sweating fractions. Couldn't afford college, couldn't catch a break, so she took the job at Preston to keep her family afloat. What no one knew, every night, as she scrubbed the floors, she was soaking up everything the equations left on the board, the lectures echoing under the doors, the research papers left on a desk for someone important to read. That night, after the professors dragged themselves out, Denise found herself alone in the classroom, staring at the infamous Caldwell equation layers of failed attempts and crossed-out hopes still smudged on the whiteboard. She'd been watching them try all the fancy, complicated stuff, missing the beauty hiding right in front of their faces. She wiped her hands on her uniform, stepped up to the board, and let her mind do its thing. 5 minutes. That's all it took. She wrote out a solution so clean and simple, you'd think it was a trick. For a second, Denise thought about erasing it, about staying invisible, because who'd believe the cleaning lady did what Harvard couldn't? But she left it there, chalk dust still on her fingers, and slipped out into the night, heart racing with a kind of hope she'd long buried. Next morning, Dr. Bennett, bleary-eyed and already expecting to fail, walked into classroom 401, and bam, there it was. A solution written in a careful, unfamiliar hand, tucked away in the bottom corner. He stood there, coffee forgotten, running the math over and over. It held up. It was genius. The rest of the team came running. Dr. Mills, Dr. Chun, all of them staring in disbelief, their world suddenly off its axis. Who wrote this? The question hung in the air like a challenge. They called security, ran through the footage, and there she was, Denise in her blue uniform, solving the unsolvable while she cleaned up after everyone else. You should have seen the shock when Bennett realized it wasn't some visiting scholar or hidden prodigy. Just Denise, the cleaning lady. She's a genius, he said, like he was letting the secret out for the first time. He tracked her down, had to drive across. Denise, at first, wouldn't even open the door. Who could blame her? But when she let him in, he saw what no one else had noticed. Walls stacked with math books, handwritten notes, pages and pages of complex problems she'd solved for fun. For fun. Bennett tried to tell her what it all meant, how big her breakthrough was, how the university, the whole math world would want to meet her. She just shrugged, said she liked puzzles, and asked him not to tell anyone it was her. "They'll never believe me," she said. A cleaning lady from Eastbrook solving what professors can't. But Bennett, to his credit, wasn't having it. He told her about Ramanujan, about how genius doesn't care where you come from, about how the world needs people like her more than ever. With a promise to have her back, he went straight to the board meeting. Picture this: a room full of suits, ready to cut the math department loose, suddenly standing up and cheering because a mystery mathematician just saved their jobs and put Preston on the global map. When they finally met Denise, she was nervous as hell, navy blue dress she'd bought for job interviews, hands shaking as she walked into the president's office. Dr. Harper grilled her, made her solve grad-level problems on the spot. Denise didn't blink. Her answers weren't always textbook, but they were always right. "We want to offer you a scholarship," Harper said. "Full ride. Research position. The works." But it wasn't all fanfare and flowers. Some professors at old guard weren't having it. Dr. Stone, department chair, wanted proof she hadn't cheated. Said it looked suspicious, someone like her solving the impossible overnight. James Bennett nearly blew a gasket, defending Denise, until finally she snapped, "Give me any problem. Any problem at all." Stone called up his MIT buddy, got a brand new, unsolved research problem, and handed it over. Denise worked silently, sweating, erasing, starting over, until she finally stepped back. Stone's face went from skepticism to awe. "This is brilliant," he whispered, and just like that, she'd shut every doubter down cold. Still, the spotlight came when the cost reporters questioned her credentials. Skeptics called her a fraud, and even her budding romance with Bennett had to survive rumors and backroom whispers. Denise wanted to stay true to herself, refusing to apologize for where she came from, standing up at her first press conference and telling the world that genius doesn't check your family tree or your resume, just is. In front of a packed house with half the academic world watching, she took an impossible problem from a Yale professor and solved it. Right there, marker squeaking on the whiteboard. That was her mic drop. The standing ovation said the rest. Her life took off like a rocket after that graduate program, research grants, papers published, invitations from MIT, even offers to have a building named after her at Preston. She and Bennett, careful at first, grew closer, finally making their relationship public after she'd more than proven herself. There were hard choices along the way when MIT came calling. It meant maybe moving, maybe leaving friends and the world she'd built at Preston. In the end, Denise did something wild. She negotiated a deal to bring Bennett along as a visiting researcher. "We're better together than apart," she said. And MIT, seeing two brilliant minds for the price of one, signed on the dotted line. A year later, Denise was teaching her own classes at MIT, running a foundation for first-generation STEM students, and publishing work that even her harshest critics had to respect. She became the hero for every kid who ever felt invisible, every dreamer stuck outside the gates. And in the middle of a Boston autumn, with leaves tumbling all around them, James Bennett got down on one knee and asked her to marry him with a math problem, no less. She laughed through her tears, said yes, and the crowd of students erupted in applause. Now, every time Denise Williams Bennett stands in front of a lecture hall or walks across campus holding James's hand, she remembers where she started at quiet cleaning lady with chalk dust on her fingers, solving problems no one else could see. Her story's more than just one big equation. It's about possibility, about not letting anyone else define your worth, about fighting for the chance to show the world what you're made of even when that world says you don't belong. So let me ask you, how many Denises are out there right now, waiting for someone to notice? What do we lose when we only look for genius in the usual places? That's what I want to hear from you. Do you think talent should be judged by credentials or by what people actually do when nobody's watching? Where else might we find brilliance hiding in plain sight? Share your take in the comments, because honestly, this isn't just Denise's story. It could be anybody's, maybe even yours.